What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another NHL DFS puck drop. This is Hold the Door DFS. I know it has been a little bit. Again, days, hours awaiting my third child has just kind of like pushed some things back. But we are going to be live today. This is Tuesday, April 13th. And we have a six gamer, which I really like. But the tough part about this slate is going to be it is absolutely stud loaded. The only team not playing, I guess Colorado and Edmonton are not, but everything else looks every other stud is playing. So if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, hit like. The MLB guys are doing a phenomenal job. McKinley and Mega Ruler, TK just killing PGA with John Cool, and those showdown videos are awesome. And per usual, Gator Guy bringing some phenomenal soccer content and NBA with Keats as well. So we have you fully covered here at FSI. So thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into this slate. As you notice, I'm going to bring up just the odds really quick at Bovada here. There's a pretty overwhelming favorite, which tends to be the case for almost any team that's playing Buffalo. Boston coming in as a minus 320 favorite. It's not that common in NHL to get minus 300 or better. I think we've maybe seen it like maybe 8 or 9 times this season. Doesn't always pan out that way, but I think Boston at home against Buffalo. I don't know who's going to start for Buffalo, but it could be bad either way. The only good thing for Buffalo is they got rid of Taylor Hall, right? The bad thing is I think he's actually going to be playing tomorrow or playing today with Boston. So I think you pay attention to Boston's line rushes. I think in this game, because especially Matt Grzelcyk is going to be really important if he's in. He'll get that power play time back. And last game they ran no defenseman on their power play. Last game they also got absolutely destroyed, if I remember right, by Washington on Saturday. So I think that game's going to be really popular, that stack. So we'll get into that in the builds. The Rangers minus 180 against the Devils, another great spot. Washington at home minus 150, good spot against Philadelphia. The Lightning and Predators game is one I'm probably going to be just like crossing off the list unless we get some good value with at morning skate, depending on who's going to be on that top line with Point and Palat, with Stamkos likely out. And then another square game with Panthers and Dallas with a low total at 5.5. Probably will be avoiding that game beside one of my favorite value defensemen on the slate. So let's get into the builds here. Let's first start out at center position. Austin Matthews again with a goal tonight or last night. Sorry, I'm recording this the night before. I know you're watching it today. And he had, let's see, a goal, 3 shots on goal. So honestly, not like a massive game, but we just know as a cash player, like his floor is just so high. It's just insane. He's always live for the shot on goal bonus, as you see, 5, 5, 4, 3, 8. We know he's leading the league in goals, right? He's got 31 now, 32 if you count the game against the Canadiens. So I think he'll be popular. I think he'll be popular as a one-off. I don't think his stack with Marner will be popular because I think people will go to Boston. And in the last time Boston lined up, warm-ups in the last game against Washington, they were reunited the top 3. So Bergeron centering Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak. So with the acquisition of Taylor Hall, and if he is actually going to play tonight, then I think that could shake things up. Maybe they keep Pastrnak back on line 2. Maybe they have Krejci centering Pastrnak and Taylor Hall and then use Craig Smith on the top line again. I think that's just going to be something to monitor, but I think there's going to be some value in there either way. And then if the top 3 is just reunited at, I think that's going to be easily the most popular stack of the entire slate. So biggest home favorite, one of the best correlated stacks when they're playing together anyway. So I don't see how they don't smash there. Barkov, love him as a player, don't love the matchup. Zibanejad, I think his matchup is really good. on the road. Only thing is he's on the road against the Devils, but we saw how poorly he started the season when he couldn't even get a goal or an assist, and now he's almost up to a point per game. He's obviously been he's eclipsed that um, at a pretty high clip recently. So Zibanejad is always in play at 7,100. I think it's just going to be tough in cash. I'm probably either going to Bergeron or Matthews for at least one of those spots. Braden Point, probably a fade for me here. Hintz is just awesome when he plays, right? When he's healthy and he plays, look at the last 3 games. So I think you can definitely consider him at 5,900, even though I don't love that game from a environment and pace perspective, but his performances are just phenomenal when he is healthy. Strome has been a great center for the Panarin line, so I like him there. After that, this mid range, I don't know, don't really love. Kuznetsov is fine, getting some power play time back. Washington, but I don't think. Let me double check. I don't think he is. I think it's Backstrom centering. Let me just double check here. Backstrom centering the Ovechkin line. Actually, no. In the last game, Kuznetsov. So Kuznetsov, Wilson, and Ovechkin. So, Oshie got bumped down. So he's definitely in play. If he's also, let me see. Yeah. This is what's funny. They have Ovechkin listed on the top and first and second power play unit. But that's honestly what should happen anyway. Even like Colorado, I don't know why they actually have a second unit. The first unit just plays the whole time. Monahan 4,300 is fine. Middlestad has been decent as a punt. Fasca has been a decent punt. Eller, you can punt down there. That's probably it for me down in this range. So center position, decide Matthews or Bergeron. You probably can't play both, or if you do, you're sacrificing somewhere else. We can kind of come up with just like a little mock build, but and what it looks like if you do stack Boston. So at the winger position, Alex Ovechkin, 8,700. Pretty crazy. 10 shots on goal in that last game against Boston, but only 1 assist. But still, you can see, 23 points with that many shots on goal. So he's in a great spot against Philadelphia at home. So we got to like him here. Pasternak at 8,600. I don't really need to talk about him, but if he's on that top line, I think that's an elite spot. I think if he's not on the top line, depending on what Taylor Hall's at 4,800. I think he's expected to play. He'd be ready to play Tuesday. I mean, it really is just going to matter where he says here. If he clicks well with the slick passing from David Krejci, so center, likely on that second line. But if for some reason Pasternak again gets put on the second line, I do just prefer really getting to like Marchand and Bergeron and then worry about the rest after that, because I do think that did significantly hinder his upside, not being with those guys. So Mitch Marner, obviously a fantastic correlated play with Austin Matthews. I think he is just, I don't know, more dependent on the correlation. Just can't get there on his own as much. Like he does, rarely is going to get the 5 shot on goal bonus. So I think unless it's like the spot it was against Ottawa, it's not really worth just like stacking him and Matthews if there's better spots for the other studs like Pasternak and Ovechkin and Marchand. And even I think Panarin at 7,900, I think is in a better spot than what Toronto's going to be at home. I think Calgary has just been better recently. So especially under Suter. Hornquist 6,800, probably too expensive for me here in this type of matchup, so I'll probably pass on him. Stamkos out. Pavelski, again, not really all about that game. Hyman scored last night against Montreal, so he's fine at 6,500. But again, I'm not going to find myself in these ranges that much with how good of spots these studs are in. Robertson obviously continues to have a phenomenal rookie season. Was held off the score sheet in the last game, but he had 3 goals in the last 2 games prior to that. He's just finding the net, man. I don't think it's luck. I think he is definitely getting after it. So that's really good to see. Arvinsson's been on a nice roll. Again, I'm just not really liking that game at all. Taylor Hall, I think, will be popular, especially if he takes Nick Ritchie's spot on the top power play. I don't know that that's going to be like a just come in and take that over, depending on how they feel about that. Mantha is also obviously traded to, was traded today to Washington. I doubt he plays in the first game. But I definitely think he's going to definitely jump into a top 6 role. So I would love to see him dethrone Tom Wilson in that top line with Kuznetsov and Ovechkin. That would be another fun stack right there. And I think Mantha will, um, either get second power play time for sure, but maybe vie for a spot in the top group. Nick Ritchie, 5,400, I think is going to be too expensive, especially if he gets kicked off the top power play unit. But he could stay because he's been there all season. Craig Smith at 3,900 got bumped down to the third line, so he's probably a fade for me. Toronto, always a decent punting option. Sharon Gavich, has had a couple of nice games more recently, so he's decent punt. Him and Kakinen or Kukinen, however you pronounce his name, are fine. Galchenyuk, 3,600, skating with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner it's worth it, at that price tag. We obviously saw the blow up game against Ottawa, but tonight, not as much, and you see more of a floor game. I think that's going to happen if they have, don't score even strength goals with him on the ice. So I think, again, somebody you prefer in like a smash spot, but I definitely think at 3,600, you can't go wrong. But I think there's other good value plays here, like Tage Thompson, 3,400. I don't know. I think his role, let me see if we have any updates on like what their lines are going to look like without Taylor Hall. But he's on the top line recently with Middleset and Asplund, and that they've been playing well. He's not on the top power play unit, but I think at 3,400, you're seeing that 16, 15 minutes of ice time. He's been super active offensively, so he has a floor like 3 to 4 shots on goal a game, which is really nice. So I don't mind that. Yarncroke, I think, getting a lot of ice time recently, just not doing a lot with it. So I think you can, consider him as a punt at 3,400 as well. Again, DeBrusque kind of just depends on where things shake out. But my favorite value probably at winger is going to continue to be Colin Blackwell. Assuming he just stays with Panarin, Kakko, I think it's Kakko, is he on the third line right now? Let me double check. Blackwell on the second line, Kakko on the third line. So Blackwell 3,100, you get to skate with Panarin all game. I mean, sign me up. And he's on the second power play unit too, and they do actually rotate in that second unit halfway through. So love Blackwell on this slate, especially in a slate that we need some of that value. So he'll likely be one of my locks in as a value play. Down here, Lindblom is on this top line. Lafreniere, however you pronounce his name, forgot. 2,700 on the third line. Obviously, he's one of their up and coming studs. So I think like after the trade deadline, these are days that you have to like really focus on what they're doing with line rushes, new teams. Some guys won't play, some guys will. So if you're really considering being active and competitive, you need to make sure you check those things out. All right. Last position. I know this is getting a little bit longer than I usually am, but it's been a while, right? So I'm excited to talk about it. On defense, I don't think I'll be paying up here. Adam Fox, obviously, I like per usual. Hedman, Carlson, all these guys are phenomenal. I just think that with the studs I'm going to want to get at the forward positions, that it'll be harder for me to pay up at defense on this slate. Giordano back on the top power play unit. Klingberg and Heiskanen are both on the top power play unit, so they're both in play. Gostisbehere, after getting like demoted to the taxi squad for a day, has been awesome for Philadelphia since kind of regaining some of those roles. McDonough has been really good recently. I think he's overpriced though. Forsling. Okay, let's get some value. This is where I want to get to. So I like overshot Leazon, right? Like for 3,400 Boston against. I just expected him. You have Grzelcyk, and Grzelcyk obviously is going to be one that I'll definitely consider tomorrow if he's in, because he'll be on the top power play unit for sure. But I just thought like, okay, Grzelcyk and McAvoy is out. Like somebody's got to step up and play like 23 to 25 minutes. Well, all the defensemen for Boston played like 18 to 20, and none of them were on the top power play unit. and none of them were good. Honestly, and they gave up 8 goals. So I'm just kind of like off of them until there's. I think Grizzly will be back sooner than we need to worry about considering their value plays. They're all super cheap, but I don't think it's like amazing value. So Justin Hall at 3,100 is always in play. Just has some good equity to Austin Matthews, but Jamie Alexiak, I don't know why he's so underpriced. Like this will be the slate. Some people tout him, or somebody will see my video and just see how good he's been recently. Not even just like the goal in the last game, but like the block shot bonus, like almost every slate, every game, even just the floor of even 4 points at 3K. You're willing to get 4 points for 3K. Obviously, you prefer him hitting the block shot bonus, and then you're up to like the 6.9 or whatever it's worth. And then anything after that is gravy, right? So 3K, love him. David Savard as well at 2,900. Kendry Miller 2,800 is nice too. Sammy Vatanen at 2,600. I think you can play. So let's just start. Let's just build just something real shell of something. I'm thinking these two are going to be my favorite values at their respective positions. Obviously, Buffalo stack is going to be extremely popular and extremely doable. Honestly, I wish you could get Matthews in there, but it just won't work. But let's just plug in. I don't know, mid-range goalie. Okay, so now you're at about 3,800 left per player. I think it's definitely viable. You can punt again at defense with Savard or whoever else. I'm trying to remember who else I talked about. Excuse me. Savard, Miller, Hall, Butcher, Hampinen, all these guys, Brody, Dahlin, getting, good minutes. Ristolainen, Ellis. Ellis is super cheap, 4,200. Yeah, there we go. I really like Ellis at 4,200. Actually, I know that first game back they kind of eased him in. He only had 19 minutes of ice time, but I think he's going to see that bump up pretty quick. So 4,200. He'll pretty soon be like 5.5K if he performs anything like he was performing earlier in the season. Now, if say you're okay leaving Pastrnak off because he's on line 2, okay, and then you plug in Matthews, you can still make that work, right? And we know there's decent value at the winger position. It's going to be harder, or you could just, if it's still Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak, and you just want 2 of them and you want Matthews, then I probably would take off Marchand and I like Pastrnak more. But again, a lot of different ways to go. And depending on what you do with goal, you can pay down further, you can pay up further. So hopefully you guys enjoy all of our content at Fantasy Sports Insight. We really take pride in building this free platform for you guys to not only enjoy the content, but hopefully win money. And then hopefully then you come over to our Discord channel where we have core plays for every slate, every sport. So thanks a lot. See you later.